Hello and hello everyone. This is Carla again. Welcome back. Welcome to this channel, Courageous Carla. Today, the topic of this show is Outlander. I am so excited for this video. It is such a beautifully shot show with lots of disability representation, beautiful cinematography, and many life lessons. Just a little recap and intro. If you are new to this channel, again, my name is Carla, and this channel is called Courageous Carla. And if you want to learn about this channel and more about me, then please watch the video. The link is going to be on the screen and in the description below. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your viewership. Welcome back. Pleased to meet you. I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm going to try to get through everything as quickly, concisely, but still thorough. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Just a few questions before we officially begin. Are you an Outlander fan? Or are you intrigued by time travel? Or just love historical shows, in particular shows about European history? If so, officially stay tuned. This video is for you. Alright, a little breakdown of the video. I'm going to talk about 4 characters, the disabilities representation in question, and then I'm going to discuss the impact on the disabled community, wrap up everything, and then we'll be done. Alright, so with no further ado, let's get started. First up, character number 1 is Colum MacKenzie. He is Laird of that clan who we're presented to at the time, Clan MacKenzie. And we are given the visual of this character as having legs that are not average bodied and that have a twist to them, in particular near the ankle. So in the show, the main character, Claire, who is a nurse, the official time traveler, she mentions or diagnoses him as having Toulouse-Lautrec syndrome. And this character is one that I probably could spend a couple of hours talking about. But I'm sure most of us don't want to hear all of that, so just a brief synopsis. This character was shown as having a family, including a wife and a child. He is the uncle of one of the main characters, Jamie. He is the brother to Colum MacKenzie, which is a character we're shown. It's another one of Jamie's uncles, and he's a great warrior and very direct, and is very much the muscle, kind of the strength behind the power of Clan MacKenzie. And we can say Colum is maybe more of the brains. He plans, he's more strategic, level-headed. You get my drift. So let's talk about some representation now. So I just mentioned he was married, and in the show we're really not given much background of the marriage, but what is discussed is the paternity of the child that he's claiming is his. There's a scene in the show where that's in question, and I don't want to give too many spoiler alerts away, but there may have been some infertility issues. Not exactly sure, but please watch that show for follow-up and to get more details. Okay, next representation, we're shown this character as being what's called the Laird, or like the presiding body maybe the president or the king of the clan. So he definitely has power, and it was his birthright. He is the eldest son, so that the title just passed on to him. All right. Next, this show discusses assisted suicide in relation to this character. So season 1, we're shown this character. He is a little older. He's in pain. We see that, and he does get the nurse to help massage him to ease some of the pain he freely admits he's in multiple times on the show. Season 2, we're shown this character aged more and in a great deal of pain. He's made a long journey handling some business making decisions, military strategic decisions, and he requests that Claire give him some relief. She assumed it was maybe something like opium, their opium of that era, and he rejects it and asks for something stronger. And I'm not going to give too many spoiler alerts away at this point, but it is deduced by Claire. She voices over in that scene and says he's had enough pain in his life and he's ready to go. And so I am going to give spoiler alerts away. Sorry. But it's important to understand the disability's representation. So anyway, this again, so Claire gives into that request and gives him yellow jasmine, which is fatal. So she gives him a vial of that, and it's peaceful. It's a calm death, I'll say, or ending of one's life. It's one of the easier, less violent, less painful ways to go. So I'm not gonna really voice my opinion on that matter. This video is really not my place to do that, but what I will say is, please, if you have any of some of these issues, follow up with your doctor. Assisted suicide is actually illegal in some states, including the District of Columbia in California. For more details, please do your own research. Proceed with much caution. Gonna give a trigger warning now. Probably should have been a couple of minutes ago, but nonetheless, here we are. But yeah. So again, bravo and kudos to the writer of the book and the writers of the series that really bring out these issues. It's amazing to see, and I'm so appreciative that they decided to push those boundaries and write for these characters in this way, to portray these issues that need to be talked about. Okay, let's move on. Next character, Ian Murray. Ian, represented in season 1, was actually the brother-in-law of Jamie. Ian is married to Jenny, Jamie's sister. So, represented with Ian as being an amputee, a leg amputee. He is a veteran of the France-Scotland War along with Jamie. So we're shown a veteran that's an amputee, and now to the disabled representation. And in relation to the character arc. So we're shown as Ian having this prosthetic, looks like a wooden prosthetic, and in the show we are shown him in some pain, and that is something that Claire helps him with. She gives advice on some herbs that will help ease the pain, and even a little bit of massaging of where that amputation occurred on his leg that really helped him with the pain. So very glad to see that, and a wonderful moment. All right, next representation in relation to the character Ian, we're shown him as, again, I mentioned he's married, so he definitely has a love in his life. And in season 1, actually, his wife discusses the marriage and freely admits she was interested in Ian after his amputation, where we're painted the picture, or we're told she just decided she loved him and wanted to marry him when she saw him after he got back from the France-Scotland War. After he returned home, she decided to get married and he went along with it. But I'm so happy to see that representation as a character that has a disability and is pursued. That's not something we see very often. So happy to see that. Very interesting dynamic. And they have a happy marriage. So we're shown thus far. Again, kudos to the writers for bringing up the topic and bringing that story to life, and the acting of those actors as well. Next, we are shown, in terms of this character, Ian, he does struggle with confidence within his disability. He claims he feels less than a man because he doesn't have the leg, and a reason he goes into business and develops a friendship with one of the bad guys of the land, of the clan, or takes a deal for protection, is because the guy this character he's talking to is a veteran himself that he knew from that war in particular, and he appreciates the relationship, that it's a bromance they have that where he's not looked down upon. It's less than, again, because of the leg. So I would definitely say, if I wish they would have had some mental health at that time, in particular veteran mental health. So this is kind of a plug for veteran VA services, but also sometimes you just need someone to talk to and that can relate to you and not view you differently as a person, no matter how different you may look as a person, if that makes sense. Again, as normal, kudos to the writers and the actors for writing and displaying that story. Character number 3 is Jocasta Duncan, formerly Jocasta MacKenzie. She's Jamie's aunt, and it would have been Colum and Dougal's sister in this show. And we're presented to this character as being blind. We're not exactly told an official cause for the blindness, but we are shown many facets of her life being blind. And one of the most fascinating parts of her storyline is that, or at least in the books, many did not know she was blind initially. When meeting this woman, she was able to navigate her surroundings and had her support staff, I'll say, that helped her navigate her world so well that she did it without anyone knowing. She had that lack of sight. So I truly appreciate that representation of a blind character's story. So let's talk a little bit more about the representation and the character arc. In this series, we're shown as this character getting two actual offers of romance by two different men. Let me back up a teeny bit and explain a little bit more about this character. We're shown her as owning land in America. Yes, that's right. We went from Scotland and now we're in the colonies, quote unquote the colonies. So this is in this, let's say, in 1700s in what is now the USA. So she is a property owner, and so again, on that estate and land she's able to navigate. It's it is a plantation, and more details on that coming up. Let's move forward a little bit. So, moving on, she's shown as getting 2 offers of marriage by 2 different men. One she loved very much, very, very much, but he was a rebel. He was an outlaw, an outlaw of that time who was against the government, the governing entities, the crown. He was a part of that rebellion, and she ultimately declined the love of her life's offer, and went with someone safe, more of a marriage of convenience. And that, again, I could probably spend many more videos talking about these arranged marriages, but I will be brief for the sake of this video and just say it happened, it still happens, and in particular for this character in question, she explained her actions, saying she was apprehensive of how she would be viewed as a landowner, a woman, hard of sight landowner, and that the legal processes would be proceeded with to take her land away through one loophole or another. So being married would be the safer option to protect her land, her reputation, her wealth. Yeah, so I couldn't imagine being in that circumstance, but she handled it with grace nonetheless. Alright, a little bit more of her character arc. She did go into some details on her blindness, and says the light hurts her eyes, and she lost her sight after losing many of her people in her life, including her children. And we were shown this character as struggling with her disability and the acceptance of it, because it happened after such tragic events in her life. And ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about that briefly, that it happens. It's not always necessarily a punishment, but I would say if you're struggling, please reach out to friends, family, faith leadership or faith leaders, or even mental health if you need to really help you come to terms with yourself. Because you deserve to. And lastly, for this character, we're going to talk about a relationship with Claire. And that relationship was strengthened when Claire recommended herbs, or really hemp, to help with some of the pressure. We're told, Claire mentioned she thinks Jocasta has glaucoma. I should have said that, I apologize. Well, anyway, she thinks she has glaucoma, so helps. She, again, suggests she uses hemp to help with reducing pressure and some other symptoms, along with her vision issues. So we're moving on to the last character this series, which is Henri Fraser. Henri is a very new character, one of the new baby we're presented with by Fergus and Marsali. Fergus is like an adopted son per se of Jamie. He's from France, and Marsali is a daughter of one of the characters we're introduced to in season 1, Laird. Well, anyway, we are shown that, or really we're told, Henri is going to be a little person. Claire makes that sort of diagnosis. We're shown that the birth was a challenging one for Marsali, but it was shocking when that diagnosis was made. And in terms of disabilities representation, we're shown a little person being born, and also what that's like for parents. So what's that like to be the parent of a disabled child from birth? So I'm super interested to see how that's written, how that's acted, how it's going to be portrayed, because that is definitely a journey that many people or many parents go through, and your stories deserve to be on screen and represented as well. And to see a person that's physically different, how they navigate their world in that era, really any era, but of that era. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with the disability analysis, and we've talked about a lot, I understand. So just recapping, we're shown many characters with powers, with a disability that's either or get it through their family inheritance or some through a marriage, but it is so interesting to see, and I'm so thankful for the writers and the actors. And as always, if you have any questions in particular about some of the herbs or even medicines or some of the even medical procedures that are done on that show, please follow up with your doctor or medical staff member. And I'd like to give an honorable mention to some of the history on this show. Since most of the show is presented in the 1700s, the king in question, once the show starts taking place in the colonies, aka America, the king of England in question that they're having those battles or issues with is none other than King George III, the king that is referenced and acted out in the show Bridgerton. So if you have not watched that video analysis, please watch that video analysis. Well, I don't think I have to say it again, but I truly enjoy the show Outlander. I love it. It's so much representation. I am so appreciative of it. And what do you think about this video? How do you like the era? Have you ever been to Scotland? Any questions or concerns? Please let me know what you think below. I appreciate your viewership so very much. We are just getting started, and just would like to again thank my subscribers. You all are so wonderful, and I appreciate you so very much. Lastly, please like this video if you like the content. Comment to some of the questions below, or any of the people or issues I brought up. Comment if you've experienced them or would just have something to say. Share this video if you think it'll help someone else. And lastly, if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel to grow with this channel and grow with me. If you'd like to do some interviews or have issues you'd like on this channel, please let me know. Carpe diem the best way you can. See you in the next video. Goodbye.